Hey everybody. I realized that my last video was a little over a week ago and I had mentioned that I was going to prepare some things with tofu and whatnot. And then I ended up eating something that caused an allergic reaction and I kind of swole up, and so I was kind of miserable for a few days, and it took a while to recoup myself. My lips are still a little dark now, but the swelling of my face and everything has gone down. So I thought this would be a good time to come back on and connect with you all again. And I hope everyone's doing well. Recently, people have asked some questions about why I've changed the way I'm eating. Why have I changed? Why am I eating the stuff that I'm eating? Wasn't it more fun to have everything that's full of the salt and the this and the that and the everything? It can be fun, sure, and I like food a lot. That's no secret. But when what you do impacts your body, then you need to make some changes. And that's what happened for me. In the summer, I was diagnosed as having chronic kidney disease, and in my past, I had already had some other health related stuff going on, and I've noticed through the years that as I've made small changes in how my food is prepared, what I'm eating, and whatnot, it has helped me. But getting that diagnosis was very difficult. It was devastating. It just was. It was devastating for me because, I'm thinking, okay, what are you going to do about it? Who's going to help me now? Oh, nobody can do anything until you get to stage 5. When you get to stage 5, then we'll just put you on dialysis or you'll be on the list for a kidney transplant. Well, what if I don't want that? I don't want to wait. What can I do now that have any possibility of any hope or recovery of, health or improved health at least? So I started reading all these books. And I started watching videos from Mr. Crafty Man's YouTube channel, which he does craft projects every week, usually on Sunday. They come out, you might want to check him out. And he mentioned some books written by Lee Hull. I went on Amazon and I purchased one that was like a food guide. And it was bright and colorful. The pictures were really bright. Recipes were clear, explaining how to prepare food for people that have chronic kidney disease or end-stage renal disease. So I totally bought into it because the food looked great in the pictures. The recipes were clear-cut, simple. There was even a nutrition guide on the bottom, which the nutrition piece is a part that I have to work on in order to stay at my best and healthiest. And by that I mean, not eating too much animal protein because my kidneys can't handle that. And the kidney's job is to flush and keep your blood clean and remove the impurities out of the body. But with the animal protein, my body wasn't able to handle that. So my body would lose the animal protein, which is something that it needs. But then if it lost that, the next thing you know, it's like everything gets kind of out of whack. Or if I have too much phosphorus in my body, then my bones lose their density and become weak. And it's a lot easier for me to have a fracture or a broken bone. So, and I had one weekend where I was eating things and I didn't know that they were high in phosphorus. Before this year, believe me, I didn't know anything about phosphorus and all that being really a big deal in anyone's life, but apparently it is in all our lives. It's just that some of us have a greater sensitivity and show it earlier in our lives than others. As you get older, your levels go down of of your EGFR, which I can explain in another video. But there was a weekend where I had too much phosphorus in my body, and it became very evident in like midday. So it was more than likely 5 or 6 hours had passed since I had eaten some things that were higher in phosphorus, and the previous day I probably had things higher in phosphorus, but right now I can't really remember. But what happened was I broke all out, almost like shingles. It didn't look like hives, it looked like shingles. And yes, I'm old enough to know about shingles because I had that once before. Extremely painful. And when I had this outbreak from the phosphorus, it was like that. And it started off as itchy, and then it changed from being itchy and dry to being severely painful, like someone was ripping the skin off my arm. It's like no pain I'd ever experienced before in my life, and I never want to experience it again. So I had talked to people that in the chronic kidney disease support group and ask, has anyone else experienced that, and how do we handle it? Because there was like nothing that would stop that pain. And you can't take NSAIDs and pain meds and all of that, because those things are part of the reason why the kidneys start having trouble, especially if you take a lot. You're taking and taking and taking. You know, I had sciatica because I used to run, and I tripped and fell over a curb once and pulled my hip out of socket. And that's where my journey to taking NSAID started, because that pain is unbelievable. But it ended up taking away from my kidneys. So, learning all this stuff, I realized I needed to make changes to my diet. So, I've been following the recipes in this book. Actually, I bought the other 2 books that Lee Hall wrote as well, so I can learn more and know more about what's going on in my body and what all these things are that's happening. Because honestly, doctors don't tell you a lot. If they will even tell you that you have chronic kidney disease, because I ended up figuring out for myself, like, what's going on. And then I approached them and said, hey, this is what I'm seeing from these test results. What's happening? And then they retested me and everything, and it turned out, yes, I do have CKD. But they don't tell you a lot. It's just very matter of fact. Oh, yes, you have this. You are stage whatever. And we can't really do anything till you get to stage 5. Then you can be, hooked up for the dialysis or on the list for a transplant. Cut back on the protein and watch your levels of phosphorus and potassium and this and that. See you later. It's like, okay, how do I do that? They don't explain all that. So I had to go out and find out all these things and learn these things for myself. And it's been helpful in that whole process of learning all that, because now it's like I feel a lot better. I'm not in any pain. I'm not like breaking out with any weirdness or anything. I'm learning how to prepare meals so that when I'm in a gathering or with friends or guests or whatever, and the food is prepared, I can make sure that they're able to eat the things that they still enjoy eating, and I'm able to eat a modified version of that that will not be harmful to me, and it's still flavorful so that I don't hate myself or hate the food that I have. So it's been really helpful, and I'm going to start doing videos where I'm showing a little bit of both. Or this is how you'd make it for your grandchildren and your son or daughter or your neighbor, your friend, and this is how you prepare that same thing for you. It's not that they can't eat it, but a lot of times people are like, "Oh, plant-based, ugh, I don't want to eat that." It's not that bad. It's really healthy for you. Trust me. I'm someone that had several heart attacks in the past, like back to back to back to back. I was one of those people come up to you, they don't say, "Hey, how you doing?" They'd say, "How are you?" And I thought, why are they saying it like that? But it's how it was. It's just really how it was. And then seeing now that the heart stuff and untreated high blood pressure that I had for several years, being stubborn, thinking, I ain't taking those pills. Okay, you don't have to, but realize that there's some consequences. Sometimes you have to do something to moderate things and get your body back in the place where it needs to be so that you can have that energy to walk up the steps to your front door or to walk down the block to where your car is or whatever, or, just to be able to even exercise in your living room. I'm not even talking about going to a health club. Now, if you can afford going to a health club and you like going out and being around folks and doing that jazz, that is totally fine. But really, sometimes you gotta work. It's a process, just like peeling an onion. It's a process. Taking those raggedy leaves of greens off of the outside of your cabbage, your collards, your lettuce. It's a process. And that's part of that growing process. So, learning that it's a process and knowing that I had to make changes and knowing that there's always going to be a naysayer around. Everybody's got haters, So there's naysayers that are around. There are people that are going to be like, I don't know why you're trying to do that. You're never going to make it. You're never going to this. You're never going to that. Sometimes you just got to give them the hand and work forward. Seek out support if you need support. There are online support groups, through different social media. There's in-person support groups, but since the pandemic, it's been easier for me to find online supports for different things, like finding this group I'm actually in 2 online support groups now for the chronic kidney disease. The one group is a smaller group that only has about 300 people. Yeah, smaller. And the other group is a larger group that's a worldwide group that has over 3,000, is it 3,000 or 3 million? Over 3,000 people for sure, maybe 3 million people, I'm not sure. There's a lot of people. But just look at it this way. And I don't know if you even knew this, but I'm going to share this information because all of this was new to me a few months ago. 1 out of 7 people are diagnosed with chronic kidney disease every day. There's a lot of people that have it that don't know they had it. I didn't know I had it. And then after I found out I had it and I went back and I looked through my old test results and everything, I had been stage 3 for a couple of years. And that's frustrating, but it's real. But it's not getting stuck in that anger and frustration, because I'm telling you, it was like a whirlwind of emotions, just like if you've taken psychology or any kind of counseling courses or whatever, they talk about grief and loss and those emotions that people go through. Yeah, it's real. Just like you're mourning death. If you don't do anything, yeah, you're going to die. Everybody's going to die anyway. Let's face it. We're all going to die. But how you live and how you die is up to you. Seriously. So you don't have to just go through this whole terrible thing and be absolutely miserable and not know what to do every single day. You don't have to do that. You want to, you go right on ahead and do that. But I want to live. And I want to live an abundant life as much as I can. And so for me, living an abundant life means taking the time to take care of myself. Thanking God every morning for waking me and giving me a new day. Thanking Him at noontime that I have made it through half of the day already. He's blessed me. I can breathe. And believe me, when I had COVID, and I know there's probably going to get a strike or something on my video for mentioning COVID, but yeah, I had COVID in 2020. And when I first got it, it was like, what? What did they mean I have it? I had required testing through work. And I thought they were pulling my leg. I got that call at home. You have COVID. Thankfully, they found out early on that I had it. So that way I didn't spread it to other people that I care about, other people that are around me, my family, my children, my grandchildren. I didn't spread it to people at work. I stayed home on quarantine. And no, being on quarantine isn't like being in prison. Everybody feel like they got to be ripping and running and going here and doing this and they're going to lose their mind. You're not going to lose your mind. You really won't. Sometimes God just wants us to be still. Can we be real about it? God just wants us to be still so that He can say what He's got to say to us or do what He's got to do. And if you don't have a relationship with God, time is winding up. I highly suggest that you do some introspection and evaluate yourself and your life and what you've gone through and what you're continuing to go through and what struggles you're having. Evaluate that. Look in your heart. Do you have bitterness against other people? If you do, you need to check yourself. For real. For real. Yes, I talk a lot about prepping on this channel. Or I used to. Now I'm preparing for the day-to-day. Because there's only so much I can say about, dehydrating this and that. And, I'm the root vegetable lady. And if you don't know me, if you're new to this channel, hello, welcome. Here I am. Danette's Kitchen. My little side handle is cooking for one. Because I'm an empty nester now. I'm almost 60 years old. Kids are grown up, gone their own way. I have grandkids, love them all. See them when I see them. But I love the Lord too. And that's just real. Life is short. Over the past few years, I've lost family and friends. Many to diseases. And not just the Rona, also to chronic kidney disease, or kidney disease was somehow attached somewhere in there and I didn't find out about it till the end. I've lost people to breast cancer. There are people that are terrified to see a doctor or to go for a regular physical or checkup. You better go for that physical and checkup. Because not going does not mean that everything's going to be okay. You have a higher chance of survival. These are my statistics. You have a higher chance of survival if you go for your regular physicals and checkups than you do if you don't go for anything. You have a higher chance of a healthier, productive life if you eat healthier. And I'm not trying to get all preachy on you, but I'm just going to tell you like it is. And then you can just like turn off of this video or whatever, but I'd hope that you would consider subscribing and liking and sharing the video with other people so that other people can know. Because the Bible tells us what to eat, how to eat it, how to prepare it. And I don't care. I do care about people's soul, but I don't care if you're not thrilled about what I'm talking about. Because believe me, I ain't making no money off any of these videos. I don't have a caboodle of subscribers. I have very few people probably that even will get this video and watch it unless someone says, hey, I think you need to see this. Maybe you know someone with chronic kidney disease. Maybe you know someone that's just looking kind of rough, looking kind of tired, skin kind of ashen or looking kind of bad. That's real. Even if you don't know that they have something going on, that could be their situation. You know who you're around every day. You know which people look tired. You know which people can't make it even up a flight of stairs. Come on now. It might be you. Be honest with yourself. Not only about the surroundings around you, about how well your home looks and your clothes, dressed and everything. How are you feeling on the inside? Or do you know someone that may need a little encouragement to go for a physical or whatever? And I know prices are high, bills are high for everything right now. But if it's someone who is on a very fixed income, in the United States of America, anyway, I can say that if the person is on a very fixed income or if they're retired or whatever, there is the Medicare, and there's also options of state or county medical support through the human services departments for the states and the counties across the United States of America. It's not a time to be hiding out saying, hey, maybe somebody will loan me this or that or whatever. It's a time to be independent. It's a time to get up on your feet. Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps as much as you're able to, which does not always mean kicking your butt out the door. Sometimes that just means being able to say, hey, I need a little bit of help. How do I get that help? Can I call First Call for Help? United Way's First Call for Help is across the United States of America. In my state, it's the 211 number. It may be a different number where you are. If you're in another country, what kind of resource programs are available in your country? Are there community clinics where you could go and get checked out and get help? Something to think about. And I know it may seem like I'm rambling or whatever, but these things are just really important. So I just want to share this with you for a minute. It may be your first time seeing me here, but I hope it's not your last. I know I got my eyeglass chain bugging me. Got some typing to do today. But anyway, learning the things that I learned this year, I decided that I was going to do what I had to do for me. And, you know, I'm not a spring chicken, let's face it. Like I said, I'm almost 60. And every day is precious. Every interaction, every person is precious. We all have a story to share. Even if you don't want to admit it, you got one. Because we all have some worth in us. And so learning more about my own story as it continues to build day after day, page after page, like a book that's writing itself, I decided that I would take action in my own life and make some choices and some changes in my eating. I didn't do it all overnight, because if I would have done that, I'd be really pissed off, number one. I would hate everything that I'm eating. Number two, I'd start cheating really quickly. Number three, and I'd probably backslide back to the bad food. And not everything I was eating was bad. It's just the way it was prepared, my kidneys could not handle anymore. Because when you have an injury, it decreases the amount of strength that your kidneys have to do things. So injuries do that. NSAIDs do that. Heart problems do that. For those that have diabetes, it would do that. I'm not diabetic, which is why it just blew my mind that they were talking about potential dialysis and kidney transplants and all that. And it's like, but wait a minute, I'm not even diabetic. So what's happening? We're at the stage that I'm at, and I need to understand this better, and I need somebody to explain it in a way where I'm going to be able to say, okay, I know what you're talking about, and be able to make those changes. I love my collard greens. I like spinach, but I can still eat collard greens. Spinach is harder on my body. I love cheese, especially Havarti, Asiago. Oh my goodness, cheddar, blue cheese. I love it all. I don't think there's a cheese that I don't like. I really like cheese. But now, right now, at this point in my life, it's a little more difficult on my body. I'm not saying I can't eat it, but if I eat it, it's like I'm stepping backwards because of where my kidneys are right now. And I was talking to someone earlier about having to transition my diets and everything, and instead of being able to use this cheese, right now I'm having to use plant-based alternatives. But I was very wary about plant-based alternatives. So it's like, well, this time I will try this one and see how that works for me. How does it taste? What's the flavor in my mouth? Is it slimy? Will it melt? Because not all plant-based alternatives melt. So I think I found something though. And I'm putting everything together like in this little food journal, I'll call it. I use the different products, and I create a page, and I cut the labels off parts of the boxes and put those things in there so that I can know what I've tried and what works for me, and anything that doesn't work for me doesn't stay in this, because I don't want to be getting those products anymore, if you know what I mean. So finding even an ice cream alternative, that was huge. But I found something, and it tastes really good. It tastes so good that my grandkids tried it, and they liked it too. They said, "Grandma, do you have any more of those ice cream sandwiches?" Of course, they were like half the size, not the full size, but honestly, I don't need to be eating the full size ice cream bar. Part of my goal to this transformation, the 4-month plan that I was on, part of that was involved losing weight and being able to increase my exercise, eating better foods, things that were better for me and healthier for me. Well, I have changed my diet, so I am eating better things. I've just been a little bit on a slow track because I'm trying to transition regular recipes so they work as a kidney-based deal. I have a lot more energy going up and down stairs and walking half a mile or a mile around the lake or whatever. Yeah, I can do that now and not be about to pass out, not be holding my side, not be bent over, breathing all heavy. No, I can do that. There's some life and some color in my skin. You can go back to a few years in my videos and see the difference between like my complexion, my overall health. Excuse me. So there's some things that I'm very, very pleased with right now. Not only that, my blood pressure has gone down amazingly, which of course my cardiologist is really super, super happy about. I mean, because it was over 200 before. Like I'm going to have a stroke high. Yeah. And remember I said I was having heart attack after heart attack after heart attack. And then some people see you having a heart attack and they're like, ooh, I want to watch. What's happening? Glad that's over because that's stressful, having someone just stare at you. It's like, can you call a doctor, please? But it's been a few years and I haven't had any heart attacks. Yay, I'm very happy that not only that, like I said, my blood pressure has gone down amazingly well. Today it was like 110 over 83 or something. That is awesome. That is flipping awesome. And my cardiologist is just overjoyed. So I still like record all of that, take my blood pressure every day, do those things that seem ritualistic that are really helpful to me. Sometimes you got to do that because it's good to not only have a peace of mind and do those mindfulness exercises people like to do. For me, it's good to pray. So I pray. I have my time to myself. I let go of those things that were stressful. When I'm out of work, it's just like taking the backpack off, leaving it at the job, coming home, and not focusing on that stuff that was back there. That stuff can wait till I come back to work on Monday. Because, hey, I used to be that person that would leave the job still with a backpack full of trouble brewing in my mind, answering phones constantly ringing, feeling like I'm going to lose my daggone mind. Which is probably why I end up having them heart attacks. But that and poor eating. Anyway. So, blood pressure. Absolutely amazing. Health. Absolutely amazing. Breathing. Absolutely amazing. And it feels wonderful to breathe and to be able to appreciate life and appreciate breathing. I didn't appreciate it as much before I had COVID. I just have to tell you, I didn't. I took it for granted. I took a lot of things for granted. But having COVID made me stop and think about everything. Not only because I thought I was going to die, because there were some days where I couldn't take 4 steps across the floor. I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't talk. Nothing. It was worse than having an asthma attack. It was absolutely horrid. And even after I was over the COVID for about 6 months or more, for a long time, I was still physically tired and sluggish and feeling like concrete was in my lungs. Or that spray foam stuff, like if you have a house and you get like spaces and cracks in the basement or the attic and you use that spray sealant that comes out wet and then it dries rock hard. That's what it felt like in my lungs. I'm just telling you. So that was another form of injury against my body that attacks my kidneys. My kidneys have been through a lot. So now I'm eating better, even though some people are like, eat the cheese. No, I'm going to eat right. I'm completing this 4-month challenge at the end of this month. Thank you, Jesus. And I will go in for tests, and we're going to see how things are. I hope that you've been taking the challenge in whatever way you need it to for your life, and I hope that that challenge has been helping you and benefiting you. For me, like I said, it's like peeling that onion, peeling that skin off of that onion. I'm so much better off than I was before. So much better off than before. And to have all these positive changes. Oh, and I forgot to mention, yeah, I did lose like more than 14 pounds. Let's just put it that way. It's like I got on the scale and it's like, what? This is wonderful. Wonderful. And I'm not out there like throwing a lot of money to the wind. These are things that I was able to do at home. Changing my menu, and even if I desire to eat a certain thing, preparing it differently so that I'm getting the nutrients that I need. I have the flavor that I desire without having a ton of salt on it because I can't handle the salt. My body can't handle all that salt and all that sugar because that sugar will stick to me like glue. It just really will. And the salt will take my blood pressure really quick. So buying fresh foods as much as possible. And like I said, if you've been watching me for a while, you already know that I'm kind of the root vegetable lady, and I enjoy dehydrating root vegetables such as beets, carrots, onions, rutabagas, turnips, whatever. And I also enjoy dehydrating kale, collard greens. I'll dehydrate or freeze. Dehydrated is much better because it takes up less space, and then I can put it in my own homemade lasagna, which I can make with a vegan style noodle and still get my satisfaction out of it. Or I can put it in a soup or a stew or whatever. So having those fresh foods, cabbage and all that yummy stuff, all that squash. And I learned this summer about delicata squash. That was one that I hadn't experienced before, but I tell you that delicata squash was really good. And for me, being that I'm used to having black-eyed peas, collard greens, and sweet potatoes, I can still have my black-eyed peas because it's a plant-based protein, which is good. I can have my collard greens because dark, leafy greens are really good for you. They really are. But the sweet potato, my kidneys are not happy with it. And when I eat something that my kidneys are not happy with, within a matter of hours, it's like I feel it. Not to mention that, I went online and looking at the American Association of Kidney Patients and the American Kidney Foundation and seeing, oh, okay, they're saying this, they're saying that, blah, 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 blah. Making my notes, put them to the side, then I forget about them. I don't really think about it until you make something a habit, but you have to do certain things repetitively for a certain amount of time for it to become natural and to become a habit for you. So, learning the hard way how to make things become a habit. That's what I had to do. But losing that weight, and I get on the scale, and my scale links to my phone, so it goes into an app so that it charts how my weight is going down and everything. And, I do that anyway every weekend. But it was like not until a week ago when I was going through my emails and someone had taken a picture of me with a group of friends, and I opened it up and I looked at the picture. And the picture was taken like a couple weeks ago. My clothes looked like they was falling off me. I was swimming in them pants. Like, I can't wear them anymore. Not right now, anyway. And hopefully things stay on this good track. But it was looking at that helped me realize just the actual impact of these changes on my body and on my life. I've had other friends tell me, boy, you look like you're losing weight. And I thought they were just talking. You know how people do. They say stuff and it's like, yeah, I changed my diet, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, big impact. All natural. All natural. So, there are changes that you can make. I hope that, for anyone that's new here, I hope that you will continue to watch my channel. And I hope that you will subscribe. Hit the like button. Put a comment down in the comment section. Is this information helpful to you or somebody you know? Somebody you love? Somebody you care about? Share it with them. Seriously. Is there something specific you want me to talk about or share with you? I am being the open book here. And I am willing to share with you all to help you on this journey. Because I'm telling you, they say a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. Tell you what, the journey of your life is one that you continue day by day. Peel them leaves, them dry, dead leaves of that onion, of that cabbage, of whatever is in your life that needs to be peeled off. Peel that stuff off and move forward. Seriously. Because you're worth it. And you deserve it. And if you can't afford to go out to a health club to try to work out, you do your little workout at home. If you're feeling stiff or whatever, I don't know if you've seen all these videos where I talk about using the turmeric. I prepare a lot of my foods with turmeric. And I still like eating eggs, but I know that if I eat the yolks, my cholesterol is going to go up. So I eat the egg whites. I scramble the egg whites and I sprinkle some turmeric in. Turmeric has anti-swelling properties. It's really good for you. And like when I had the little allergic reaction the other week, and take none of this information as medical advice because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, whatever. But when I had that little incident a week ago, it was like in the middle of the night when I realized all of a sudden my face was swelling, my lips had swollen to the point where they would not stretch anymore, which now you can see they're kind of dark. But they're getting back to normal. So, I went through all of that, and I didn't have any Benadryl or anything like that. And it was the middle of the night. And when you call 911 in my neighborhood, it's very rare that anyone shows up. And if they do, it might take an hour or more. So I didn't have an hour or more to wait for them to decide to answer the phone with emergency services or to show up. So, I got a big tall glass of water, got some turmeric, shook it in there, mixed it up, took a straw, drank 16 ounces of water like that. Looked on Google and it said that turmeric, vitamin C, and it named a bunch of other stuff that were good for reducing swelling. So then I took some vitamin C while my throat was still open enough to do that. And the swelling stopped. And little by little, it started going down. It was kind of an icky process. So I was glad that we're still in the masks and all that because I didn't want anybody to see that and, weeping lips and skin peeling and ugh. But God is good. And I made it through that. And now I try to make sure I have some Benadryl put aside. I keep the children's Benadryl aside because in that way, if I need it for my grandkids, it works. If I need it for me, it works, and I can just drink it and not worry about, is a pill going to get stuck in my throat? But very grateful for everything. Everything, every day. There's so many times when I go down the street and I see people sleeping under the bridge, or people sleeping by the railroad tracks. They used to sleep right here, out my window, across the street at the park. There used to be hundreds of tents until the city was like, we're not putting up with that. And they gave them all kind of eviction notices and plowed all the tents and everything away. So for some people, that was all they had. All they had. And they lost all that and had to start all over again. There's a lot of people in this nation that are homeless. Housing costs are through the roof. Seriously. So if you have housing, if you have a house or an apartment, or if you're renting a room or whatever, be grateful. If you have an RV, if you're building a tiny house, be grateful. Now, if you have a tiny house, let me tell you that there are different rules in different states according to where you can place it. Some places will allow you to have it in the backyard as an accessory dwelling unit, but it would have to be like in the backyard or in the driveway in the back of someone's home. There have been people recently that have built tiny houses, and beautiful ones. I mean, like really, really nice ones. And renting their neighbor's property to have their home there, and then the city has come back and evicted them. How does that happen? I don't know. A neighbor sees it and they're like, oh, I don't like that over there. I don't like that. That has to go away. But I don't understand how that can happen. Or someone move into their tiny home and one day later, be evicted. I know I have a pretty sad tiny house story myself too, because I had built one years ago before this was a popular thing and people thought I was kind of nuts. It was small, but it was like a studio apartment on wheels. And the city gave it what I call a plicker, a permanent license sticker, as an RV, meaning a recreational vehicle. RVs can be lived in for a shorter period of time, or maybe like 3 months here, and then you have to move somewhere else, and 3 months there, unless you are somewhere on a mobile home site where you can have your house there and be able to live safely. But then you're going to be renting that site, that mobile home site. But that's something that people need to think about. There's people living in tents. There's people that don't even have a tent. So in all things, give thanks. Seriously. Remember your neighbors. Remember your friends. Remember those that look like they're shut in or alone or need someone to talk to. Seriously. Take time to think about others. Thank you for taking this time with me today. And I know this video has gone on a bit longer, but some things just needed to be said. And I hope you're all doing well. I hope that you're eating healthy, living healthy. If there's something that you would like to see discussed or addressed in these videos, please put something in the comment section. If you want me to try to do a live video, let me know, because I'm trying to work with YouTube. I would love to do a live video, but I need to know that there's going to be people to actually watch that live video. So work with me. Let me help you too. Have a great day. Stay safe and take care.